This video will be covering the repair and renovation of a PROPAQ 102 patient monitor by Protocol. This is a patient monitor from the mid-1990s. My thanks to Frank's Hospital Workshop. Frank's Hospital Workshop provided the repair manuals, and they're an excellent resource of information if you find yourself working on technology in the developing world. One note, we're going to be replacing the lead acid cell with a lithium polymer cell. This presents a fire or explosion hazard if done improperly. If you're not knowledgeable about how to do this, please skip that section of the repair. This cell used in this job was a protected cell that was guarded against over or undercharge. This is a hospital monitoring system for patient monitoring. Manufactured this particular model between 1988 and 1992, I believe. This style is used for quite a lot more than that, but that's where this particular model came from. I'm going to be walking you through three basic things that I did to make this thing more usable for modern facilities. It's worth noting that if your organization is doing outreach to developing nations where they're starved for equipment and hardware, this is something that could potentially be useful. Again, ask before you invest in this. But this device was about $18 on eBay, fully operational after I got done with it, and I think with all the parts might have been $40, so they're pretty inexpensive. There are three things that I did to bring this machine back and up into operation. First off was the screen. The screen, as you can see through here, is not bad. Originally, it had all of this in it. This is what it came from the seller looking like for 18 bucks. You can see it's pretty ratty. I think the original designers thought that if they could make the screen sort of jet black when it was off, it would make people more willing to pay huge hospital bills and whatnot, but we just needed to work, and these were worn out. So to effect a screen repair, the first thing you do is you remove the screws at the back. There are two screws, one here and one there, as well as two more up here and two more on the other side. So a total of 6 screws altogether on the back of the device. That will open up the front. Then there are a number of connectors here. You can see each of these blue connectors needs to be disconnected. There's only a single air port that has to be disconnected. These aren't too bad. And last but not least, this, which joins up into there. This is not particularly challenging. It's maybe 2 or 3 minutes to get it apart. It's all Phillips heads, no keyed screws. Once you've got this apart, you fold back the little plastic or paper piece here. It's a good idea to replace this lithium cell. It's nothing exotic. I believe it's, what is that? CR 2032, I believe. It's a common off-the-shelf battery. Then you remove screws here. There's one here, 2 here, and one last one here. This whole assembly pops out, and you can access the screen from the inside. Once you have the screen available to you, just use a knife to pry or a sharp screwdriver. It's glued in around the edges. I swear this thing looks like it was made to be dunked in a pool. And after you remove the screen, it's not too hard to separate out the good screen, which was left inside, from the crap that had bubbled and blistered and looked like a swelled up lima bean. But take out the 2 dead ones that are all wrinkled up, put this one back in, and you have a good to go screen, which will work just fine for any hospital need. Now, the next step is the connector. This thing is designed to do an EKG, and it's designed to monitor temperature and blood pressure. Now, in this model, this long predates the optical blood pressure you can get on a device like this today. But this connector is non-standard. I'm sure Protocol was happy with theirs when it came out. Nowadays, you can't find anything that matches it. So, to match this thing, once you've got it open, you'll see this little panel here, which has the EKG, the temperatures, and the blood pressure cuff here. This is secured to the inside with a heck ton of glue here, and with this piece here, which is designed to slide down like this and secure the whole piece. So when you open this up, you slide this out, and then you carefully pry this out from the inside. Because it's held by the glue, it takes quite a bit of work to get it out, but maybe 5 minutes if you're taking your time. Use a knife, use some basic tools, and it'll come apart for you. Then after you've got that apart, it's simply a matter of finding the connection hose here and jacking on a normal piece of latex or equivalent tubing, and then you thread that tubing out through here, through the hole left behind. And now, once you've done that, your blood pressure cuff will be generic and will work with any off-the-shelf system. So you no longer have to hunt for a connector to a 30-year-old fitting. So that restores the blood pressure cuff. One last thing that has to be done with this. This model was designed to draw power from quite a wide range of voltages here. I believe it says 10 to 32 volts. It's up for quite a lot. And the connector I'm using with it here comes from a laptop computer. It's nothing particularly exotic or special. I just happen to have this on the shelf, and the connector plugged into it and worked just fine. So nothing unusual or exotic here. The drawback was that although it charges and runs off of this, the original battery that came with this is a lead acid cell, an 8 volt. You can see here, 8 volt, 3 ampere hour lead acid original. Now, it needs that in order to operate the blood pressure cuff. Not the greatest design, but they didn't give the power supply in here enough juice to run the compressor pumps off of the line directly. So, the lead acid battery, the 8 volt, you can get that from online, but it's going to cost you about $80, and the thing's only going to last perhaps 6 months before just wear and tear wears it out. Also, this device did not originally have an off switch per se, at least nothing that was easy to access. So, to fix this mess, the solution was to get a replacement battery. This is a lithium-ion polymer cell. This is what it originally looked like in the case. It's designed to go to some kind of Dremel or something, but again, all you have to do is match the voltage, 8 volts. This one's 250 milliampere hours. Slightly smaller than the 3 ampere hours, so 2.5 versus 3. It's taken a slight hit on the ampere hours. But again, this thing was originally designed to monitor patients on a helicopter, and it was really important that the battery lasts that long. I don't have those same restrictions, and most developing hospitals are unlikely to either. So this is a much, much more durable cell that will last perhaps half a decade, maybe longer. This is simply removed from its case, taped in place. The voltage is the same, so we just soldered the connectors on. There's a red and a black, just as you'd expect. And then this switch here, it's ugly, I'll freely grant, but it's what I had on hand. And it allows you to switch the whole system on or off without having to go through any gyrations to make it work. The whole thing plugs in here on the back. And with that, you have a working system for $18 plus perhaps 20 in parts, so about $40 for a working patient monitor.